Good evening. I'd like to call the November 3rd, 2022 meeting of the Board of Architectural Review to order. The first application is the Tuxedo Club at 1 West Lake Road, who has resubmitted a new landscaping and lighting plan for the property. We have had several neighbor notices sent to the neighbors of the Tuxedo Club over time during this process, most recently 3 weeks ago when they were going to be on the agenda tentatively. We have received one letter from a neighbor, Mrs. Gwathmey. John Ledwith has that, and we will make sure that is admitted into the record. It has been read by the members of the board. I am a member of the Tuxedo Club, but do not see there being a conflict of interest by hearing this application. At this point, if I could, I would ask that the applicants recap the revised project for us. And I'd welcome them to come forward. Hello, Karen.
Landscape architect. Hi, I will go to the landscape and lighting plan, I think would be the best way to read that.
Yes, thank you.
I think that's,
Let's move it over. Let's see. Everybody can see. Okay. So this is the site plan, and then this is the landscape and lighting.
just to back up, the reason for this, the intention, what the goal is.
The goal of the project.
You get up, aren't you?
Well, you knew we were to make.
No, I
it.
know. I've been here enough times. So ultimately, we had a larger, grander plan. It included moving our employee parking lot for a variety of reasons, some neighbor concerns, some board of trustees. We went back to the
But
drawing
not
board.
bar.
Actually, the original plan was passed by both the zoning board and this committee, quite frankly. But we went back to the drawing board, and ultimately, we're not going to move that parking lot, disturb that area of the property. Everything is centered on what is the current parking lot and loading dock area. This landscape plan has changed at best on a minuscule amount since the last approval. I think the only thing that's dynamically changed is we've put in the last couple of light poles to match the current ones to get the lumens correct throughout the parking lot. Now that we had to, basically, we just had to change the entrance and exit from the loading dock as part of the other plan, which is what's shown here. We still have the water filtration and rain gardens, and the engineering study, and so on and so forth. And so my understanding is we're here at this point to get the final approval on this. Mostly because the lighting plan was the one piece that was not approved in the
Right.
previous iteration. And our plan is, once we have our approval and permit, we're planning to start this work demolition end of February, early March, depending on weather. It'll be done in 2 stages because the final coat is the tar and chip, very similar to exactly the same as we did on the tennis parking lot, quite frankly. So we'll do the bulk of the work early in the spring, take a little break. We have some holidays to celebrate at the club and different things, and then do the final coating right before, Memorial Day and sort of the start of the summer season, so that all the disruption will be over before we get to the summer season and, more people, more residents and traffic and all that good stuff.
Mhm.
So there's really nothing has changed.
One thing I wonder about, when you came before the bar before, and you talked about sort of there are a lot of sort of strange river birches and things really crowding the building. And you were going to, so that remained,
We want to keep the,
can you explain
yes,
exactly what's,
so there is a really big, like 100-year-old
what you want to keep? Yeah.
yew over here. And we felt that we couldn't take too much out at once, so we kept a couple of the dog, actually a rhododendron, and I believe a couple of dogwoods, but we were trying to open up the view of the building because it's spectacular, and that's
Are there 2 river birches?
there's a river birch. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, I did this plan so long ago. There's one over here somewhere and another one.
I think there's one over here in this.
And that's what I was worried about, because that looks like it's remaining.
Number 8, I have to look that up on the existing tree plan. That's going to be over here.
One of the really smart things that you, I liked the grand vision that you,
Me too.
frankly, I thought it was very meaningful, but
That's a flowering dogwood that's
okay.
remaining.
So that's there and that'll stay.
Yes.
Okay. And how many would you say you're taking
So
out?
we are, I didn't list the ones in
I want
front.
to say with this plan,
Remove.
5. I believe it's with this plan, 5 or
That
6.
you are taking. So it's very similar to what.
It's very similar. This part of the
6,
landscaping in the
6
plan
or
is 5 or 6, okay.
Yeah.
This part of the plan is very similar to what it was. Again, most of it was, we still have this gentle tilt in the parking lot that's there. So when you drive in, you don't look into the service yard as much. And when you're driving out, you really can't see it.
Right.
Mhm.
So that, and it also helped us with where we wanted to get the rain gardens and tie into the, the plant
And the rain garden is still.
So the way they
Right
function,
here.
there's
Mhm.
slots in
here,
the
and then there's a
curbs.
basin here as well.
And all the water from here goes into this center area, and then this is connected to this, and then this is the rain garden as well, and then it all goes down
And
here.
you're doing some swamp oaks, is that right? Or
We
some-
swamp oaks right in the middle. Yep, that's on the planting plan. Very good memory. I'm impressed. They've done very well in, this is actually a bioretention area, not a rain garden. Rain garden's a little too shallow of soil. Bioretention is 4 feet. And so this is, there's the swamp oaks are 1, 2, 3 in between the light poles. And then at the very entrance to the property, there are dogwoods.
Mm.
Dogwoods and oaks are a natural complement to each other.
Mm.
Um,
And those are
because
the natives.
the native species. Let me just,
Beautiful.
And then at the entrance to the club, it still is going to ramp up and be a 0 clearance entry then, and take any, the ugly ramp away and
Mm.
any, handicap accessibility.
Oh, that's
issues we might
fantastic.
have.
Yeah,
So
that's-
right,
so-
that's
really
another.
So it
Well,
is
also-
handicap accessible, but not visibly there.
No, it's actually just going to
Yeah,
ramp,
you're
it's
not
going to
gonna-
gently ramp
Oh, I
down from
see.
the current.
It's inherently
Yes,
accessible.
Part of
Yeah.
the design.
Right.
And we
Beautiful.
also made this, Randy said it was very
Yeah, this
slippery
is,
there, and we're
this
gonna
is,
drain this.
we do have member residents that live at the club as well as staff, and this is their entrance.
Right.
And so we've got a lot of water issues. So it allowed us to fix all the drainage over here and landscaping as well going into this wing of apartments, which have some staff and some members, quite frankly.
One other small question, if I may. You guys talked about adjusting the color of the stucco or paint on, there's a wall.
The wall
This wall here.
Yeah,
Right here.
This one.
to kind of bind it all together a little bit better, because right now it's very discordant.
Well, I think that I'll call that a work in progress.
Yeah.
When we were doing the other plan, that was much more critical to do that, and we were going to tie into the building more.
Right.
Already last year, we completely washed the building as well as painting any of the wood trim. So that this wall has, right, and so this wall has a lot less disturbance than it did in the other plan, because we were going to berm up to it and hide this entrance and things. So I'm not sure, other than the gentle power washing, once the work is done and
It's not
tying it
very
into the
pretty.
look. But, I mean, we can look at that as, we
Is
obviously
the-
want to look nice, we did so many
Is
other
the
things.
field of that wall the same as the color of
No.
the?
It's more of a natural stucco and stone spotted into it. It's.
Because that, to me, I mean, again, I liked your whole grand plan, but there were things like that were, for me anyway, sort of key to its making sense. To me, that is a very prominent feature, and it would be great if you're doing the heavy lift of this. Even now, it's a heavy lift. Why not bring that into kind of a better conversation with the building?
We can take a look at it. We hadn't considered it. I mean, it's not impossible, so we can take a look at that.
I mean, it's definitely something.
Not a
we-
major change, just
No.
an improvement of the look of the wall and maybe.
Yeah, I,
Trying to.
Well, the improvement of the parking lot that is not a roller coaster as you walk through it.
that's a
Well, that's
win.
an
Visually, I
Look,
think that's
a
gonna
win.
be, I think that's gonna be a big win to start
For,
with.
for sure.
And I think that the way we viewed this when we did this plan is to try to sort of fool the eye a little bit, because as you come into a different angle, you're looking at the entrance to the club and across this nice
Yeah.
plantings area. And when you leave the club,
Mhm.
you're looking outward already. So,
Yeah.
but we can take a look at it. I haven't looked at it closely in a while.
In other words, to sort of train your eye away from that.
Right.
Yeah.
There's more vegetation here, because sometimes you see it into the service yard, so
So
you'll see it less.
there's a
more.
couple new ones, but you can see all the trees that we're not really doing anything on the side of the property now.
Right.
So obviously we'd like to have as little look behind the scenes as possible, but we have to take deliveries and have trash removal.
So
we-
down the main row of your driveway.
here,
Yeah,
yes.
what are we putting in?
There's inkberries going in the middle. That'll look really great in the winter, and then they'll be green in the summer. And then there are aronia. It's a low skate mound, ABF. Let me just double check. I'm sorry, it's been so long since I've done this plan. This is all perennials in here, all native perennials, Agastache Blue Fortune. And Amsonia or Coreopsis verticillata Zagreb, just because Zagreb is it's a Coreopsis that doesn't really let any weeds grow through. So I'm trying to be cognizant of actually Casey back there.
Yes.
So he doesn't have to, weed in between perennials.
Fantastic.
Same is true with the Agastache.
Oh, and I see you've got the native ground cover, the Allegheny. Is that how you
Allegheny.
Allegheny Pachysandra, the
Yes,
native one. So that's
Allegheny, yeah.
Allegheny, yeah, that's
Allegheny.
great.
Yeah, and I find it very successful here in the park. It's been doing great.
But now,
And I would love to put the ginger, the
Mhm.
American
The
ginger,
native.
but we can't buy it anywhere. No growers are growing it.
oh,
It's tough.
Yeah.
But the Allegheny Pachysandra is available, thankfully.
Mhm.
Yeah, that does as well as the other end. They're finding that the regular Pachysandra is actually a host to the boxwood blight, so it's good, really not to
Interesting.
not to have that.
and the lighting again?
Yeah, let's go
So
through
the
that.
lighting is going to be all retrofitted for LEDs, which was very expensive for the club to do, but makes a lot of sense. And then we're moving 3 fixtures. I believe these are the 3 fixtures that we are relocating. And then these are 3 brand new ones. These are the brand new ones. These are the existing light poles. So they're close.
Glasses, please.
Yes.
That's very close.
And what are the lumens?
The
That's on the line.
Oh, is it
lumens.
this?
Very close.
Yeah,
I have to double check on that.
the wattage.
Yeah, I will double check on all that. I'll make sure they're on.
Yeah, we didn't want to change the look of the park lot in terms of lighting, so it's as soft as it can be, but meeting the code and the safety aspect. that was
And
that
glazed
was
and
just-
down facing.
Right, which is why
Yes.
we added a couple more poles, because
There were dark
there's some
spots.
dark spots out there, which that'll solve some of that.
Well, it is a parking lot, has to have some.
And then the bays, are you going to distinguish where the bays are or just let people?
Our plan, I think, is we're gonna do the same as the tennis lot and go with the dark green paint. And, it's not the easiest to see, but we like the subtleness of it.
Right.
So
Nice.
if that doesn't work long-term, we'll have to revisit the paint color and maybe brighten it a bit, but we're gonna try not to, quite frankly. The
But in
tennis has held up well, albeit needing some touch up here and there, so the plan is to stay with that. We like the look.
But in essence, you're only adding 3 additional fixtures down that main
Yes.
road strip.
Right here.
And so now let's just, for the record, have a discussion of.
So
what
these-
gets
these
what the
two-
lumens.
Those exist already.
Yes.
Okay.
And they are very comparable.
Yeah.
It looks great, yeah.
Mhm.
It'll be a lovely improvement, and the added benefit of that handicap access is something that is music to our ears. And we hope, people think about this for every project in the future, even their own homes, to think about that. Because it's,
We'll sell the metal ramp if someone wants to buy it. We're happy to sell it after the job.
We'd rent it out.
It's pretty awful.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Oh, maybe it's here. No, that's just fancy.
For a couple. Yeah.
Oh, here it is.
Sorry, I
Relocated original site light pole and fixture retrofitted with a 2700 K LED, 5 or 5 watt light distribution, lumen output to be determined. And existing light pole, 2700 LED, 5 or 5 watt lumen output to be determined. So that's what they all say. So,
What is the current ones, do you know?
yeah, that's a good question.
I don't know because they're not LED, so I don't know if we have that on here on the fans. to be honest
We
with
can,
you.
and I
You
can make
know.
sure that they're a nice warm color. I'll specify. it, you know.
Yeah, we're gonna do warm ones. They're
warm.
not gonna be gross LEDs.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the.
They won't look like LEDs. I mean, that technology's
Right.
come so far, as we
Yeah.
all know, and, this will be, there's absolutely a cost savings to the club and a benefit, but, we're not looking to have a Walmart parking lot, that's for sure. It'll be soft.
Well, 2,700K LED. John? Is that-
I know once you start to approach 5,000, it really becomes a very white and blue light.
The
Mhm.
lower. the better.
2,700 is less than,
Half, almost, well,
Yeah,
almost,
About,
almost. Okay, and five
Are
or
they
five,
are they
Why?
timers or photo cells or how are they?
I don't remember if those are, one way or the other. They're certainly not on at the wrong time. I know that I want to sit down at golf, we actually have them on timers. I think these might be on photo cells, but don't quote me on that.
But yeah, as long as the level is, meets the legal requirements and the safety requirements.
Yep.
But, no brighter than that. so
and
that
5
it's,
watt light distribution meets the code. Any concerns, John, on the lighting?
No, we've just always been very cautious about the LED lights because most of them are very a whitish, bluish light. It sounds like 2,700 is going in the direction we would like, which is adequate, but not overly glaring.
If we couldn't get the soft glow that we want from them, we wouldn't actually be going with the LED, but the technology's there, so we're gonna go with it because, long term, it's better. We all know it's better, so.
Do you have dimmers on them, adjustable?
We wouldn't put dimmers on these as a rule. No, we'll put timers on. We
'Cause
put the dimmer
they're-
on them.
This is about the throw of them, so we were very minimal in the lighting, so we'd prefer.
I think in this case, it's not just an aesthetic issue, but it is a safety
Safety.
issue
Yeah.
because it is a formal parking lot.
Right.
But if, as long as they're not on when not necessary, I guess that's all we kind of ask. Which is, I think, what you're alluding to.
Yeah, we're not.
So they will be on
We're not.
some kind of a photo cell or
We're not
time.
off in a big late night place either, which is nice.
Yeah,
Kind of like that part.
yeah. So they'll be off when the club is closed.
Yeah, I mean, they'll go off every night at whatever reasonable hour they do now. I want to say they probably go off around 11, probably around 12 now, I had to guess, but
Mhm.
that's correctable if there's an issue somewhere.
Do you have any other questions?
no,
Any other
looks
questions?
great.
Okay, with that being said, I want to make sure that we make this resolution, we have all of the lighting latest plans.
Oops, sorry.
What's the last
There's one more
date
plan.
on that?
9/1/2022. This one's, some of them are different.
Yeah,
The
they're
last one is 9/1/22 miscellaneous.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's the same plan we have,
Okay.
okay.
at least the cover sheet.
Okay, I'd
And
like,
we have the engineers.
let's do this together. Okay. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution to approve the landscape and lighting plans for the Tuxedo Club at 1 Westlake Road as provided on the engineering and surveying properties drawings. Sealed by David Getz from the state in the state of New York. Numbered C1, C2, C3. And as of 8/17/22 being the last revision. And the landscaping plan as provided by Karen Arent Landscape Architect. L1, L2, L3, L4, L5, with revisions up through. 9/1/20, right, Karen?
22.
22, I'm sorry,
22, yeah.
9/1/22.
Feels like 20.
22.
These are also the site and grading plans, just so that.
You know, including
the case.
landscape plan, including sighting and grading plans and lighting as provided therein, which shall be in accordance with the lighting set forth on the plans and be turned off. Reasonable hour and LEDs kept to
2,700.
2,700. and 5 watts off, warm glow. Did I miss anything? Okay. We didn't have anyone from the public on this, did we, before we? I should have asked that first.
You should have asked. I don't think anybody's.
Is anyone here to speak about the Tuxedo Club application? I should have done that before I started. I don't
Second.
think so. So we have a second. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
very
Passes
much.
unanimously. Thank you.
Anything else you need to get to the permit, John, or when can we pick it up?
I have to put some paperwork together, but by Monday.
Okay, perfect. No, I just want to start working with the contractors and get out that.
Thank you for your patience.
No, thank you, appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Did you second that?
Our second applicants
Christopher
are
seconded.
Lynch and Pomerantz at 217 Westlake Road. Exterior changes to doors and windows, renovation of outbuilding, painting, pool, and driveway gate. Thanks for coming back. I think we were interested to hear your progress in dealing with materials and what other changes that you have made. Would you like to share these with us? You can either take the screen or we can look at these. Okay.
I have my architect, Rich Brown, and my landscape architect, Danny Sherman.
Hello?
Hello,
That's my lovely fiance in the back.
hello, welcome. Welcome back, I should say. Okay, please.
Okay, where would you like me to begin?
I'd like you to begin from where you left off and give us a little recap and where we are and
Okay, where we are in recap, should we address the landscape first?
whatever works for you.
Let's start there. So Dan, if you care to join. So we just took out those photos very quickly. Thank you. So we brought some updated photos for our material choices. This will be a flagstone or bluestone coming out. This is the area between the proposed pool and the current front entry. We wish to stagger it and have grass going in between and provide a pathway that's linear going straight to that.
Mhm.
I believe there are also concerns over our material choice for the proposed patio against the wall.
So just,
yes.
this is, we're just looking at this. This is.
No,
yeah,
it's just an
that's right.
inspiration to really communicate the idea that we were going for.
Sort of a grid pattern.
And this-
Because
and
you've
does
already
that-
got a beautiful stone wall.
And does that represent the middle one or the side?
That
one?
represents the middle one.
Middle
On the
one, right.
sides, we'll be using a grasscrete product that provides structural.
So it
support
looks even
underneath.
more like just
Exactly, a lush lawn
Right,
that will
right.
support something if we want to drive over it to kind of keep the 360-degree driveway intact, while
Right,
still
right,
making it
Beautiful.
hardscape.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So that's that. Our next area of concern was materials for the proposed terrace up against the existing wall. We wanted to choose a natural looking flagstone material,
It's just wet.
and then this is it wet. So we wanted for it to just kind of have a natural look and lean into the existing nature that's there. Just past this point on the site too, it drops and becomes a little more wooded. So we wanted it to look less manicured and fit in more with the natural landscape that's
This is the
existing there.
semicircle over here. right?
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
And there's a bit of a steepening or sort of a ramp here in leveling this sort of dining sitting area. It forces this portion of the driveway to become a little steeper. So we're putting the grasscrete there too, just that it's not slippery.
Right. Great.
And then I believe the next area of concern from our last meeting was the proposed path lights on top, which, Dan, can you help me with where these are?
Well, they're really just to illuminate the sitting area that's above
Yes.
the old retaining wall. So it's small and very small on this plan, but on the bigger
We do
plan,
have it on the
they
bigger one, so
just
maybe
go
we can see
along
it.
the edge in the woods. I think there's 6 on one side, 6 or so on the other.
These are small.
Just little low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
things
little
like-
mushroom light.
Oh, just like that.
Similar, we
Oh.
submitted the actual and I didn't
think
realize
we-
that
we
was.
had that, yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, it does look like that.
Or is it a little bit stiffer, the older fashioned looking one?
It's a
or-
little stiffer and older fashioned.
Right.
Looking, we want something low to the ground with as
Right.
minimal amount of light as possible.
Yeah,
It
'cause we
shows
do
in-
need,
Oh,
There's
sorry.
have
there's a
them
picture
too.
of it there.
yeah, I think
I
it's,
think I know
believe we
the
emailed it to you
design.
after,
yeah.
I don't
I
think.
think
it
it's in the
was.
staff, the lighting example.
We avoided something that was too contemporary looking.
Sure, sure,
A lot
sure.
of projects now, people want very sleek.
Yeah,
sort of
these
simple
they've been
ones.
using since, I don't know,
Here's the-
1930 or something.
They shine down, that's the main thing.
The last page is-
Second to last page.
If it's the one-
You won't make a big statement in the language.
There. Okay, so something very traditional and with minimal impact to lighting.
Oh, okay.
Bronze-
Down lighting.
Bronzy color.
Yes. like a
That looks even
bronze
more
hue.
invisible.
It's a bronze finish.
Does it patinate or is it sort of a inert bronze finish? Do you know what I mean? Does it oxidize or?
Yeah. sort of that rough sort of look,
Oh,
but it's
great.
finished.
Mhm.
A nice patina over time.
Great.
Between 9 and 15 volts with no loss in output. And then here you had more. You had more.
I
of
believe it
the-
gives the lumen output as well.
yeah, 294.
294.
And average LED, blah, 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 available 12 voltage.
That looks good. Warm white.
It's more light, I think.
294 lumens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's less than a 40 watt light.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. Not a fan of bright white light.
yeah.
Right, right.
It's more down lighting so you can see where you see your feet.
Exactly,
when You're
just-
sitting in the chair. right?
Safety.
Exactly.
See your
Fall off
hamburger.
the wall.
Yeah, okay. Okay. What else did we have? The flagstone, repurposing flagstone, repurpose, and you had some.
Yes, so we're seeking out
That's this
vintage and sourcing it used and reclaimed.
Okay.
And so the lighting is just up here. There's no lighting in the pool
There'll be a light in the pool that's required. Water light, but we're not doing anything overly
great.
invasive. There'll also be for code above the entry door, the door on this side and this, the door on the
But they'll
proposed
be
new
down
opening.
facing.
Yes, it'll be an old fashioned gooseneck barn light with a large pan that forces the light down.
Nice.
And that one actually lets you switch the bulb, so I can have some fun with keeping it very warm.
Those are black.
Yes, just very simple black to
Just
disappear.
in black enamel. sort of
Mhm,
painted
Black
on it.
enamel,
Gorgeous.
classic barn light.
Yeah.
I believe our remaining concern then was to do with the proposed gates for the pool. We are attempting to find something period appropriate that's vintage, and we're looking for an iron gate that's will have all the safety features that are needed.
Mhm.
And
Neat.
we're asking that we're able to submit that as part of the plan, and when we find the appropriate piece,
Come back with
come
that.
back for
Yeah.
approval.
That's absolutely
Great.
fine.
Okay.
And I just
And-
go into architectural artifacts. Which is
I had a
fantastic
great
fun.
find today.
Yeah.
I was at the one in Newburgh. the House
Yeah, I love
Parts.
that one.
I found 21 of the white ceramic doorknobs that match the exact ones upstairs, and
Wow, Well done.
seven 5-panel doors to match the upstairs.
Excellent.
It was a good find.
Yeah.
It was a fun one though. They had a urinal from Yankee Stadium that may or may not end up in our gym bathroom.
Oh,
I think that's a must-have.
It was an easy sell.
Very good. Congratulations on that. And then gravel samples you were going to
So
talk.
gravel samples. I brought my Tupperware.
Right.
So I just grabbed a crushed bluestone to do as a substrate layer underneath for a majority of the drive, and just to give us a little traction coming up the drive.
Mhm.
And then in the proposed rounded gravel driveway area, I've selected a nice small, this area right here.
Mhm.
Up next to the entry, I did a finer pea gravel to just
Great.
have a little bit nice of a country house feel.
Oh, so these are separate. So this is,
So
this
this will
is,
be coming up the main drive.
and then
at-
the pea stone is over
We'll sit on
here.
top of it. So where the gravel
Oh,
is, this will
okay.
be a substrate layer, and it'll actually help
Ah.
keep it in place.
Right, 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 right.
You wanted to put a name to this smaller one. It's bought as Delaware Blend, it's called.
Delaware blend. Thank you.
And you don't think that these will get churned up and
Definitely not. In fact.
are you
the
adding
larger
stone dust or
substrate-
something?
yes.
Oh,
So
you're
there'll be a
creating a
layer-
macadam, an old fashioned macadam. Okay,
Exactly.
got it. And then the.
And then the
stone
smaller
dust.
on top, and it'll keep it in place and keep it a
Beautiful.
little pretty.
Yeah,
That's what it's called.
It's crushed blue stone.
crushed fruit. stone.
Just-
Big grade. What is that? Half inch or
Item 3.
3/4 inch? Bigger.
So we addressed lighting, we addressed material choices, the gravel. I think that covers everything.
If you don't mind me asking, and I know you have very good intentions, but we never really discussed in depth the roof on the, I call it the outbuilding, the brick
Yes.
structure. I might be able to bring it up here.
That's it.
That's it. I don't know if we really went over this. On what's
Well,
going on.
thank you for raising.
Yes.
You can just explain.
Sure.
And what's
So
proposed?
Sorry.
we're taking, the existing is on the bottom. It's not in a great state.
Right.
Surprisingly, though, the doors and windows we found inside of it. So we are able to restore those, re-glass them and rescreen them. What we're proposing doing on the top side is to find a vintage glass orangerie. And in a similar way to the iron gates, find something of the period that we can then install. I would love to find an articulating roof and have it be more functional. I think that's something that we would like to
We
come
were
back.
imagining a greenhouse roof.
Yes.
With metal.
Correct. So a nice heavy steel and a glass plate roof on top of it.
Oh.
So I've had some friends who have had luck finding them and from old estates. So we're searching high and low.
Mhm.
I think it's something that,
So you'll come back. with-
yes, we looked into fabricating something new and just the quality is not there.
Are you going to do other work before you find that? Or
So all that
are
we
you just
really-
going to come back? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So all that we would have to do, we can do the doors and windows now because it's restoration and we have them existing.
Yes.
The other work we've done, there was a dilapidated cedar shake-up roof on it that was a safety concern, so we took that down.
Mhm.
And now it's just awaiting a.
So
new
just
top.
waiting, it's new hat. Okay.
Precisely. A new
Okay.
hat. I might have to borrow that.
Okay.
There was a fabulous greenhouse just down this road from you at the stables of the Delafield property. I think that Alexandra was the architect on that project. I think
Oh, well, Alexis.
Alexis, right.
Right.
I'm not sure
So,
what happened to
well,
those.
she took it away from, so that had been a greenhouse.
Right,
Then it had fallen apart. Then they added the old greenhouses, maybe from the Poor State or somewhere else.
Hmm.
And then, but they weren't indigenous to that place.
Right. right,
Then Alexis took it all off and they made it, I think, into its proper roof
right.
with cedar shake. Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened to those greenhouses.
If they have them, we're interested.
Oh, I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
I wonder if they're still.
I think she offered them around, but there were no takers at the time. They weren't,
There's also a guy who specializes in greenhouses, who Kimberly Bryland. I don't know if you know
Mhm.
Adam Patrick and Kimberly Bryland.
Mhm.
They have a beautiful old, very small vintage that was on the property.
Yeah, and they're working on
greenhouse.
redoing theirs as well.
I think it's more or less completed, but they
Oh.
worked with a guy who does a lot of things in the tri-state area, and he does both new but also antique greenhouses, and he sources,
That would be a
metal
fantastic
work and
resource.
glass. So we'll get that to you somehow.
If you're
Thank you.
satisfied with the site plan.
Mhm.
and what-
Mhm.
Do we have all of your contact information? Okay.
I'm happy to provide it again, but I think.
Is there any other landscaping that we should go over that you're adding?
Yeah, I had a couple of hydrangea bushes near the pool, but nothing, it's mostly mature growth and there's beautiful rhododendron on the property. So fortunately, we don't need to do much. We're gonna add a couple boxwoods behind air conditioning units to hide
Mhm.
those.
Mhm.
It's not
And-
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But pretty minimal.
Mhm, mhm.
We may just want to formalize the color changes that the board approved
Hmm.
a month or so ago.
Right, which was the black and the white dove. I believe.
So
I
yeah,
was historic black and a gloss and then white dove.
so black HC-190 and white Dove OC-17.
A semi-gloss or a high gloss?
The white dove is a step down from a semi, so the stucco didn't have a sheen,
Right.
and the black is a full gloss.
Very good. Anyone else have any more questions?
No.
Okay, so what's trying to do this.
You just reference the plans in front of you.
Yes, these plans and the colors
And
and
not including the roof on
the orangery roof and the gates.
The gate.
The gates.
Okay.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the application of Lynch and Pomerantz, 217 Westlake Road, for exterior changes to doors and windows, renovation of outbuilding, painting, floor, driveway, and gate as provided on the landscape plans of Daniel Sherman, dated August 18th, 2022, number L1 and L2. And the materials as provided in the presentation and provided with the application for the lighting and the driveway materials, which were Delaware blend, and what was the other item?
Fresh bluestone.
Item 3. And the colors of the properties to be painted.
These ones as well.
Oh, good, we'll get those.
Yeah.
And the colors to be painted black, HC 190 full gloss, white dove, OC 17, as well as the engineering plans of Richard Vale Architect, numbered A1, A4. These are kind of interesting. This is, yes, just one, and including photographs, A2, with attachments for colors and other materials, A3, sub 1, A5, the colors we discussed.
That was, I think that was that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you got that one, and the date of these ones was August. 8th, 2022.
Was it 8th or 18th? Was it 8th? Okay.
Very good. I think that covers it, and you will come back to us with, when you have your gate sourced and your orangery roof. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Best of luck. Can't wait to see you again.
Thank you very much. 9:05. Thank you.
I was hoping I could keep those.
If you want. Plenty more at home.
Sheila, did you
Thank
mention
you.
A4? I
Thank
didn't
you.
hear A4. It was an A4 in there?
I thought there was an A4.
I think you started off with A4. Oh, A1, it should A1, A4. and then
Okay,
we-
yeah, okay. It was unusual. And our final
you. Good night.
application of the evening, Turtle Point Road LLC, 79 Turtle Point Road, comes before us for the first time with regard to oh, I hope no one wanted to talk about Lynch and Pomerantz, because
I don't think any.
for Turtle Point Road LLC, 79 Turtle Point Road, carriage house renovations.
Set to discuss.
Hi, my name is Edward Sebastian, a member of 79 Turtle Point LLC, owned by the Gerber family. Pleased to meet you folks.
Hello.
Likewise, welcome.
So I'm the new kid on the block. And we'd like to bring Turtle Point back to where it was 130 years ago with some upgrades to the carriage house itself. Carriage house was redone a couple times in the prior years, and I started taking the building apart
Mhm.
and ran into some issues. So this was the existing side of the building. I'm sorry. Existing front of the building.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry. We'd like this to be our existing front now.
So you want
So
to
we had, so there was bookcases here on the inside.
Mhm.
Okay. So we want to put 3 doors there with a 7-foot Juliet balcony. We want to replace these existing openings with these doors.
Are these solid panes of glass? I'm sort of confused.
Yes, these are,
So
well, they're broken up here and solid on the bottom.
there's like a transom thing on the top and then
Yes,
this is a
sir.
solid pane of glass.
Yep.
And then what's happening in the middle? Or is that?
They're French, they open.
Okay, but, oh, and sorry, this is hidden by the crease. Okay.
But just to back up, what is your intention? What do you want to do with the carriage house? It's
Well, it was a two,
guest house
it's like
or-
a 2-bedroom, yeah, it would be like a guest house,
Mhm.
like it was when we bought it. So it was a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath guest house with a kitchen.
I
So-
thought they were growing marijuana or something. There was bright lights.
I have no idea what was going on in either of the homes.
Ah,
So,
well, it's. I mean, before we get into details, I want to say obviously welcome to Tuxedo Bar.
thank you.
The bar, not the bar of Architects Room, but the bar, the standard for you guys having this very important historic house and property in the lakefront is very, very high. So any changes to any existing structures is going to be historical structures. Is we can have an eagle eye on it because it's we have to make sure that it conform your needs, wants, and desires, what you want as the homeowners, but also that it fits into Tuxedo Park. And that's where the Board of Architecture Review comes in, where we can give you some handy hints and some direction and some things of what will work and what are appropriate, because we have the experience of knowing all the other buildings and
Yes, sir.
what works and what is complementary. And basically the bottom line is, with historical structure, it's there's not too much can be done to it, even though it has had different stages in the past. Obviously, it was a carriage house, and then it was converted into a residential or a guest house. But it's very important that something that I call the tuxedo patina is respected. That it's that at the end of the day, it doesn't look like a new building, a new construction, and we love new constructions, but that's a separate thing. If it's already a historical structure, that has to be very much respected. So that's where we're coming from. So with these plans here, there's beautiful elements, lots of beautiful elements of it, but my feeling altogether is a little bit overkill. Less is more. It's a carriage house. The columns are a little bit too. I don't want to use the fancy. The raw ironwork is a little bit too fancy. It's a little bit. It's taking away because your house
The
is quite.
rusticity of and the functionality of what was a working building.
Right, so this actually matches the main house.
Is that right? I don't.
Yeah, on the back of the main house.
Do you have
As I can,
images
on
of
the
that?
next- I can get those,
It's
yes.
funny because I don't.
Yeah,
I don't-
it's nicer to see color renderings and the perspective of
I
the
think
buildings
have,
against.
we have color right here.
This is what's being proposed
Mhm.
on the elevation that you've been displayed there.
Right.
Here's a shot of it on a 45-degree angle showing
Mhm.
the extension of the patio on the second level.
Because here we have a very boxy sort of cubic square building. The window treatment kind of reflects that, and I think there's some good elements about it that which sort of jar a bit with a more decorative ironwork. The problem I have with the windows is this central, from a distance here, they look like cheap sliding windows when I know they're not. That's the effect. It's like, oh, they've just put in, Home Depot special. That's how it comes across.
And the divided light is really the historical standard in the park, right? For
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Pulling this apart.
No,
But
I would rather.
it's hopefully it's constructive criticism, and that the adding the big balcony, the terrace, seems to jar as well with it. It's too important, and then you look at the roof, and the roof is so skimpy and minimal. The original roof, it's like, if there's these big columns, what there should be something more. So that jars. My thought is to be constructive, is that if you wanted to, if your wish is to have more windows up at the top, then to get clues from other architecture in the building. For example, there's a thing called the ballroom. It's an orangery, and so it has double height windows, and part of it is 2 floors. So it's divided in the middle. Part of it is one double heighted room, but the other is so it doesn't have a balcony, but it's a double heighted with the oval window at the top, which would very much harmonize with the oval windows in your beautiful main building. And that way you would get, all this window exposure. But at the moment, with this repetitive going across, it's very
almost like cabanas.
Yeah, it looks like a more hospitality suite. Then it loses all the charm of this horizontal, the original ones, the horizontal, and on the other side there's a pair of windows there, and one window there is not matched. So it's and the other thing, I think on the drawings it says you're keeping the chimney. Here it's removed, but keeping that stone chimney is, as character is yeah. I think it's super
Unless
important.
you were trying to remove that.
It's not on these renderings, but I think on the
Maybe
page.
it's not around, we're not that way.
Okay, yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
thought.
because
on
that's
Yeah, that's
immediately
right there.
makes something.
Okay, there we go, yeah. Because that and it's these original elements that are so important, which gives it character, identity, as opposed to, oh, there's a new building just popped up on the
I mean,
lakeside.
I think what's really what
Help me to what you guys would like to see.
right. I think what's really kind of sending out this message that Christopher's talking about, and I agree wholeheartedly, is the kind of over-aggressive fenestration repeated on both levels. I mean, if you were to leave this beautiful detail, they're on 2 different sides. These sort of, we'll call them a rectilinear bay, for lack of a better term of art. I don't know exactly how to put it. It's on 2 sides. Are these 2 separate? Yeah, those are 2.
Yeah, that's
And
the back.
to me, it's the define, other than the hip roof, it's the defining thing that gives this working outbuilding character. Obviously, it's clear that you guys want the raised deck. That I'm gathering that's such a decisive thing that you
It's
presented.
just nice to be able to go out there and look over the water.
So if that's the thing that is most important to you, there are ways of doing that while respecting the integrity of the building. I mean, here you could easily turn this into a set of French doors. Here, you could leave this a window or have a single door. You could have a kind of very arts and crafts sort of friendly, period friendly, wooden kind of porch that could go over this. That wouldn't be so overstated as what's happening now with
agree
those
with that.
columns.
I think the columns are too bulky,
Yeah, right.
and having that there.
And I think they're speaking of a different building, the different sort of tiers. I think, I'd be happy to do a little research, but I mean, you could do it yourself. But I mean, there are, if you think of English and American arts and crafts architecture, there are tons of precedents.
And our architect, Shopper and Wharton, that's what they specialize in.
Oh, you're working with Choprino Wood?
Yeah.
Tell them you want more rustic and you want it to look like an outbuilding of the period, and that it
Because Jerry is
Right.
our lead
well, they
architect.
know exactly what they're doing. Okay.
Yeah, so Jerry's been up here a million times, and then we have,
This
All
is strange. It
three.
doesn't feel at all Choprino Wood.
yeah, well, it's funny, they're doing 3 homes for us right now,
Okay,
and they're actually,
maybe they,
them and Tom Pheasant are actually, Tom is doing the interior work.
right.
But
I know they will know how to make the solutions. I mean, again, I think having all the muntins and everything is a good thing. That looks frankly odd to me.
so let me ask you, if we had these size doors
Mhm.
with all the divided lights, is that something?
Sure.
That
I
would
mean,
go?
if you have,
Yeah,
Okay.
proper mullions and muntins and,
Yes.
absolutely.
it
That
would
would
look like an American sort of orangery,
Yes, it would look charming. You would have people stop the boat, say, look at that, as opposed to look at that, with this deceptiveness of,
And I think as far as the metalwork goes,
I can go without the metal work.
my feeling is you probably are going to have a better luck with something that's wooden spindles and things,
Yeah.
properly, weatherized. You can do things that they don't decay. If you do go with metal, maybe just take out some of these aggressively Parisian details here and this strange curve, which you say
That was
may have something to do with something on the house, but the house, of course, is a completely different.
And it's quite a
Architectural
distance
statement.
too.
So what happened here is that a woman that lives in the park for several years had come over, and she had pictures of the home from like the 40s and the 50s. So the windows on the back of the house were actually broken wine bottles
Oh, so great.
in the whole, all the windows that go with 3 stories. So they were all champagne and wine
So
bottles.
beautiful.
Yeah, wow.
With leading between?
Yes. And then what happened was in the 60s and the 70s, when Swanson owned the building,
Right.
they changed the windows and they re-leaded all the windows on the back,
Right.
but you couldn't get that stuff anymore.
Oh,
So she showed us that.
Yeah.
And then we went to the back off the dining room porch, and there's a little porch off the den on the other side.
right.
When we started looking at the spindles and everything, you can see every 4th spindle has the circle in it. This was just for a Juliet balcony, just to have, but that we can do without.
right.
Is that
You
the
know,
only
that-
place you have that strange sort of?
Okay, no.
It's just right there.
That's what I thought. Yeah, and it felt very dressy for a functional outbuilding.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, that can go.
Well, I think you get the flavor of where we're coming
Yeah,
from.
guys,
You
I
know,
just
much
wanna-
more arts and crafts.
I want to
But I'm
bring
glad
things
you, but
back
we're so
to where
glad you
we're-
came, just
to
to,
where we need to be.
Yeah.
So
Right.
would you guys approve a 6 or 7 foot deck out here?
In principle, I mean, we're not at a stage where we're officially proving anything, but in principle, this particular member of the board, here's you. That's something you want to do. I can imagine why that would be something you want. And I think there are ways of doing that that are more
Softer.
sympathetic to the building.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of, this, I'm just thinking, in Versailles, the Marie Antoinette's little farm, she has that wooden terrace sticking out, and it's adorably charming, has so much charm, and it's so appropriate to that building. But my thought is, it's tough to get the right one. So my thought would be,
I think we also have to consider the setbacks
Yeah.
from the lake and the elevations, and I think you're looking at that, right, John?
Yeah, we have to just make sure we have 100-foot setback.
I'm
from-
114.
100 feet from your proposed deck.
Yeah, it's 114 feet to the deck.
All right, we just need a site plan
Yeah.
showing that.
Absolutely.
So it's like 120 something to the building and then.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. Great. Yeah,
Which I had all Van Sweden did we're going to be coming with a landscape plan, because we're trying to go back to the original landscaping that was there when the home was built. So they did a lot of research on that. And I don't know, I'll provide that.
And I can imagine, just thinking aloud, large rectilinear columns that are chamfered or whatever, that,
Right.
that could look very in keeping with this kind of, it's a functional, very basic building. It does have a very, it has a dressiness to it, just not this dressy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also wanted to discuss the, what you're planning for the texture of the building. I know that there's been some discussion because some of the stucco was moved.
Well, I want to do exactly what's there. When we looked at it, it's like a shotcrete, right, John? I mean, that was,
Yeah, it looks like it was put on with a air tool. I don't know how else to say it, and it was just blown on. It has a very, very deep texture.
Oh, you're talking about the stucco.
The stuff
Yes.
on the
Yeah,
outside
it's sort of
stucco has a
taken
very,
off
very
into
abrupt
the
texture to it.
Oh, okay. And what
So I
were you
found-
envisioning putting on in its place, or
we're
just
going to put the exact same thing,
with particular, like a better
a
stucco?
better mortar mix. So
Yeah.
we found a Argentinian man in Maine
Hmm.
that actually does it. So he would come down.
We probably want to see a
Yeah.
sample of
Yes.
that.
I mean, a lot of the stucco, this is what, 1900, 1910, or what is?
This building's around 1915.
Oh, 1915. But yeah, a lot of the stucco around here, it wears really well normally. So it's sort of a shame that we have a barn that's the only thing holding it up was the stucco. Everything else had corroded. We had to rebuild it from the inside. But it has so much particulate in it. I mean, it is a very robust.
Yeah, this, in my opinion, because I used to do stucco work, this is a second time around with the stucco that's on this building.
Right.
The original stucco is on the original
Oh, you can
1
see
foot
it.
by 1 foot bricks on how the building was built.
Right.
This is an overlay that's on there right now.
Right. That probably doesn't wear very well.
It's what's there,
Right.
you know, so it's not like the original, it's not like the house, which is the big stones,
Right.
you know.
Which is amazing.
So,
So you guys would like to see windows?
The Muntins, yeah. I mean, if possible, I think that's going to make it look a lot more, as Christopher was saying, you know, less like an aggressive overhaul of something. I mean, this, I think, is what's looking like it's on the Intercoastal Waterway, and
I
it's-
totally agree with you.
you know,
I
and
can't-
also details like this, just small things like that. I would ask Shoprino Wharton for some more sympathetic, you know, you're not trying to recreate the past, but at least not kind of violate it quite the way these do, to my eye.
Yeah, no, it's that patina, you know, that's saying with the stucco that it's, you know, it has that, so that, yeah, I mean, you know, this is, once one starts on a project, one tends to, you know, go into the minutiae and make it as perfect as possible. We don't have to tuxedo.
Guys, so my background before building and everything and getting involved with that, I used to build old Ferraris.
Uh-huh.
So I could take a 1964 265 GTB Ferrari, and we want that car original patina.
Right.
Kids nowadays want
Right.
the brand new
Right.
car.
Yeah.
What we want to do is bring it back to,
We
want functional, right? So this, you know, so
and
for
even
me.
the Gerber family own the Ferrari.
So,
What
no,
a king of the Ferrari.
so here's how my involvement with the Gerbers happened. I own several construction firms, myself and my family. I also own insurance firms. And they had an accident 8.5 years ago at the home in Montebello. Lightning hit a tree. They have a very, very old, they have the oldest farmhouse in all of Rockland County, which was called Cole Farm. So the farmhouse, when this tree exploded, it actually, there's 3 homes on the property. It took out the farmhouse, it took out the 300-year-old barn, and it hit their main house in the back.
Oh.
So this was a Friday evening at 5 o'clock on Shabbos. I'm an Italian guy. I know nothing about the Jewish religion. My secretary comes to me and says, there's a woman on the phone. She has 7 kids and they're have no power.
Okay.
So I
All right, I
said,
think
I'm
we
about
get
to
it, we
leave
get it.
that.
Okay,
So,
okay, I
long
think
story
we-
short is I
yeah.
get involved with
Yeah.
them, and I
Okay,
become very
okay.
close with the family.
Okay.
So
They trust
You know,
you, right?
Yeah.
And you
so, I
guys,
mean, we do everything, we do business deals together, but this was built for him to eventually be his retirement home.
right.
Mhm.
And he loves the park. I mean, you know.
Well, I'm so glad because
Loves
that's
the
a
park.
property that needs that kind of TLC.
So we started with all the rock work.
Oh, I saw with those beautiful piers and you.
Yeah, so we
re-electrified it.
Yeah, we redid all we've done all the stone walls because they were falling down. You know, we've started there. We are going to do a gut renovation on the main home to bring it back to.
Undo some of the bad choices.
Yes, so Shope is working on that right now. We should have that hopefully within 3 weeks, a full set to bring to you folks.
Great.
Because we are looking to actually build out the attic.
Well, I have to say, it's so refreshing to hear your openness to the questions. I know it's a lot of feedback, but
Guys, I'm not combative. I want to make it
No,
the way,
clearly.
I want to make
We
this
want to be
for
helpful
them.
to you, and we hope that
So
we can be.
what
so.
I'm going to do is get in touch with my architects. Well,
Okay,
so my architect has COVID right now. I'm going to talk to his assistant Patrick tomorrow. I'm going to tell him maybe we might get rid of this altogether.
Right.
well, you don't have to make it, just think about what, let's just take this, think about it, come back to us after you've spoken to your architect.
I think we're on the same page.
Well, yeah, I think you got the feeling, we're on the record, we don't need to.
Yeah.
you
If
know.
there's a solution that's sympathetic, I'd love to see it. If not, I mean, certainly that would be a very, just bringing it back with better materials to the original would be ideal as well. But
Mhm. So I think you have our initial thoughts, and we really appreciate you coming. Now, I wanted to say we gave notice to the neighbors, and I believe there was a neighbor on the phone. Was that to speak?
You gotta ask if anybody.
That was-
Is anyone wanting to speak to this application?
Stephanie is
No,
just
Karen.
observing the proceedings.
Karen Hadar, I didn't know if Miss Hadar was speaking or just observing. Okay, we don't seem to have anyone who's wanting to speak this evening, but we thank you again for coming, and we look forward to hearing your vision as it evolves.
Yeah.
Thank you, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate
And
it.
good luck with the swans.
Yeah, well,
Take care.
I got to try to figure out how to get this over here.
Yeah. Wild, the Canada geese, they're all coming up onto the lawn. Yeah.
Oh, if you have any, the mayor loves to eat Canadian geese, so yes, you're the only one.
Let's not go
Well,
there.
well, you know
Thank you
what?
so much for coming.
They're your over fertilizing team.
No, yeah. I bought those little plastic bowls just to try to deter them a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and riparian buffers, that's always great. That's a fabulous thing as a steward of the lake owner property, to make sure that the edge of the water has a lot of vegetation to act as a
Yeah,
filter.
so you'll see with the new landscape plan,
And who's doing that? Who's doing the landscaping? Did you say?
Eric Croft,
Okay,
which is 12 Van Sweden out of Washington, DC.
that's great.
So he has direct lineage to one of the landscape architects that worked at Turtle Point. So Eric actually did a lot of work in Central Park. And that's who did work in Tuxedo Park.
Okay,
Some
Interesting.
of his lineage. So we found them and Lily, his assistant, and they've done a lot of research on the home and how it was built and the landscaping.
So does the riparian buffer discourage the Canada geese from coming up or?
well, it's a physical barrier. They don't want to go where there could be predators, so.
They'd
it's-
be boxed in, right? In other
Right,
words,
yeah,
if they
so
cross.
they could fly over, but it's like, oh, there's a barrier there. Oh, look, there's an open lawn there, so they'll go off to the
So
open
interesting.
lawn.
Yeah,
So-
there used to be actually a big seawall around
Really?
all of this. From the pictures we have
Right.
from like the early 20s, there was actually a seawall that came out over the point, came up about 7 or 8 feet. But it's not there anymore. So it's, it's going to get planted when you guys look at that and
Great.
Great.
see what you think. So take those
Look forward
back
to
or
seeing.
leave those
I
or.
need 3 of each of what you have there, just 3 if you have. 3 sets with us. And 3 of the other one, and that's fine.
I'll be calling you tomorrow.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you
so
for
much.
coming. Drive carefully.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we're going to turn to the minutes now of the last meeting, which were set. Which were.
October 20th.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
I'd like to make a meeting to approve the minutes of the October 20th meeting of the Board of Architectural Review. Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Hi.
aye.
Like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Meeting adjourned. Thank
All
you
right.
all. Thank everyone for coming.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Sheila.